Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of a cornucopia of Tales and Tellers. Today, it just so happens that Simona and myself have two Irish tales for you. One from Setanta and how he had a little name change, and one about Oisin. Enjoy. Fado, long ago, there lived a boy named Setanta. His uncle, Conor MacNeesa, was the king of Ulster. The king lived in a great fort, a place called Owen Maha, Navan Fort, near the town of Armagh. Conor MacNeesa had a troop of boys under his care, which were called the Macra, which means the elite. The king had made a playing field for them near the fort, where the boys trained to run and wrestle and play at war with their toy swords and spears. They also played hurling and other games. If they were good enough, they would become a warrior in Connor's legendary army, the Red Branch Knights. Setanta lived with his mother near Dundalgan, which is now Dundalk. He longed to join the Macra, but his mother always thought he was too young. He begged her day after day until finally she gave him his way. Setanta set out alone for the king's fort. It was a long journey, but Setanta had his hurley and his schlitter to play with. He was so fast, he would hit the slitter far ahead and forward and catch it on his hurley before it would hit the ground. When Setanta reached the fort, he saw the Macra playing a game of hurling. He ran in amongst the other boys and caught the ball. The other boys were furious that this new boy had joined their game uninvited. They attacked him from all sides and threw spears at him. But Setanta was quick enough to be able to catch the spears on his shield and fought everyone else off bravely. The noise had disturbed the king, who was playing chess at the time, and he went to see what was going on. The king was very angry. Setanta shouted out, "I am your nephew. I've come all the way from Dundalk, and I've come to join the Macra." The king admired Setanta's bravery and welcomed him into the group. If Setanta was strong enough, he would join the Macra and then maybe even get promoted. Setanta loved his life, and time passed quite quickly. Around the same time, there was a blacksmith in Ulster named Cullen. He made swords and spears for Conor MacNeesa and his warriors. One day, Cullen invited the king, his knights, including Setanta, to feast at his fort. When everyone was setting out for Cullen's fort, Setanta was playing a game of hurling. He told the king he would follow along as soon as the game had finished. Once the troop arrived, Cullen had asked if everyone was inside, for if everyone was, he would release his fierce and deadly hound who guarded the fort. "We're all here," said the king, completely forgetting about Setanta, and Cullen let loose his hound to patrol the area around his fort. As soon as the game was over, Setanta set out for the feast. He came near Cullen's, but he'd heard deep growls of a wolfhound. Suddenly, this hound leapt forward and attacked him. Setanta didn't have any weapons on him, just a hurley and a schlitter. But with all his strength, Setanta hurled the schlitter down the hound's throat. The animal fell dead. Inside the fort, they heard a noise. Connor jumped to his feet and cried out, "We've forgotten about Setanta." Connor and the Red Branch Knights rushed out, expecting to find the young boy torn to pieces. Connor was amazed and delighted to see that Cullen's great hound lay dead at Setanta's feet. The warriors shouted with joy and relief. Only one man was sad. It was Cullen. He lost the wolfhound he loved and guarded his house faithfully every night. "Let me take the place of your hound until you find another one to take its place," said Setanta to Cullen. And Cullen agreed. From that day forward, Setanta became known as Cuchulainn, which means the Hound of Cullen. Cuchulainn later went on to become the greatest warrior in the Red Branch Knights. Garamila Mahag.
One day, Finn McCool and the mighty warriors of the Fianna were hunting in the woods, and they had just come out of the woods when suddenly they stopped. And Finn McCool made his way to the front to see what was happening, and he saw riding towards them on a white horse the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. She had long golden hair, and she was wearing a blue dress that looked like the starry blue sky. And when she came in front of them, she stopped, and Finn McCool asked her, "Who are you, and what do you want?" "I'm Neve of the golden hair, and I come from Tir na Nog, the land of eternal youth. I came here to talk to Oisin." "Oisin is my son," answered Finn McCool. "Well," said Neve, "my father and I, we heard so many tales of Oisin and how good he is with poetry, and we'd like to invite him to come with us to Tir na Nog." Finn McCool thought about it, and he wanted to get rid of Neve of the golden hair, but it was too late. His son, Oisin, hearing his name, had made his way to the front row, and he answered, "I am Oisin. Uh, what is Tir na Nog? How, why should I come there?" "Well," answered Neve, "Tir na Nog is the land of eternal youth. There, nobody ever gets old, and nobody ever knows sadness or illness. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful place. And my father is the king of Tirnanog. Would you like to come with me to Tirnanog?" Oisin looked at his father, and Finn McCool understood straight away that Oisin had already made a decision. "Please, please," Finn McCool said, "please promise me something. Promise me that you will come back." "I promise, father. I promise that I will come back." And with those final words, Oisin embraced his father, and then he jumped on the horse behind Neve, and together they galloped away towards Tirnanog. The time passed, and Oisin was happy in Tirnanog, and soon Oisin and Neve of the golden hair had married, and some children were born. But there was always something in the back of Oisin's mind. He was happy, yes, he was, but he always remembered the promise that he had made to his father to go back to Ireland and see him one more time. And so one day he went to Neva and he said, "I've got to go back to Ireland. I've got to go back. I'm going. I'll see you soon." And Neve cried. She tried to tell him not to do that. She tried, she begged. But Hoshin had already made his mind. And Neve said, "Please, take my horse. Take my horse to go to Ireland. But promise me something. Promise me that when you get to Ireland, you won't touch the ground." "I promise," said Oisin, and he jumped on the horse, and soon he galloped away towards Ireland. But when he arrived in Ireland, he found a different place. Where were the castles, the mighty castles? Where were the villages that he had once known? Where was his father, Finn McCool, and where were his friends, the mighty warriors of the Fianna? He looked around, but he couldn't find anyone. But soon he saw two men down the road. They were struggling to raise a stone. Who were these strange, small, and weak men? Well, he would help them. And so he galloped towards them, and they looked at him with round eyes while he spoke to them, asking, "Do you need help?" They nodded, but remembering his promise to Neve, he didn't get off the horse, but he bent down and he took the stone, and up he went with the stone, but he was strong, The girth of his saddle snapped in two and boom! Oisin fell to the ground. The two men approached, and in front of them that young, beautiful, big, muscular man transformed into an old man with a long white beard, wrinkles, and shaky voice. Where is my father? Cool. Where are my friends, the mighty warriors of the Fianna? The two men shook their heads. We we don't know. Everything they could do was remember those names from a distant past, from a mythological past, from a legendary past of 300 years before. And so Oisin started crying. He had broken two promises. The first promise to his father, he would never see him again. And the second promise to his wife, Neve, who had not told him that what had felt as just a few years in Tirnanog had actually been so many years in Ireland. He would never see her again. And he told them his story. He told them the stories of the mighty warriors of the Fianna, and he told them the story of his father, Finn McCool. And soon after, he died. But something remained. All of those stories are still with us, and they will never die.